Okay, so I think in a previous recording, I used the heart data, I think it was. So I'm copying that from lab 1 and opening up an Excel. And I almost always work when I can sort of on the computer in front of me and then sort of copy things, attach them in an email or something. So I had previously added in the add-in. So if I go to data, there's a data analysis button here. But if you haven't done that, it's under a file, options, add-ins. And it's the analysis Tool-Pak, and then you say go, and then you check off the analysis Tool-Pak and you say okay. So I've already done that, but okay. So here was this, and then I pasted in this heart rate elliptical machine data, and I'm making an insert XY scatter plot, our usual quick layout number 9. And here's some information about this regression, the R squared. And then this data is another place to do some analysis. So I'm going to the data tab and data analysis. And there is a regression in this list. There's a place where I can choose regression and say okay. And then I choose the inputs, and here's what I did wrong. You have to decide if you are, when you highlight, if you're going to say you want the labels or not. And I was inconsistent. This is where I was inconsistent. So I'm going to choose the data with labels. Okay. So if I choose the data with labels, that's my Y's. And then here are my X's. And then I'm going to say that is with labels. And it's going to put it on a new worksheet. And then I can pick other things I want. So I'm going to let it do the normal stuff. I'll add in the residuals and residual plots. But at this stage, I'm mainly interested in the p-values. That's the extra thing that this gives us. Okay, so here was this is what I was getting wrong before. Here is what the adding the fit to a straight line gave me this slope 3.7493, and here it is 3.7493 over here. So this is giving us some of the same information, but more. There's the R squared of 0.976. So if you remember, the first time I was doing it, these numbers were slightly different. And that's because I screwed up the label thing. I highlighted the data without labels and then checked the box and I had labels, and that's what threw everything off, because it was treating one of my data points as a label, so not including it in the analysis. But now everything is right in the world. And there's lots of new information that this gives us, but the one that I tend to focus on and ask about is this thing called a p-value. And the one advantage that it gives you is that it is there are two parts to a straight line, the slope and the intercept. And our R squared is something that tells us whether it's good or not, but it tells us for the entire line. So it's sort of a package deal. Whereas this p-value separates the two pieces. Should we believe the intercept? Should we believe the slope? And for R squareds, we want it to be close to 1. So this was pretty good. And for the p-value, we want it to be small. And these are pretty small. So that's good. The residual is sort of how far away you are from the line. So the line predicts a 63 if the speed were 0, but we had a 57. So we're off by about between 5 and 6. And that's what a residual is, that how much you are off for each thing. And if you plot the residual, sometimes you can find a pattern in the residuals, and that might tell you that a straight line isn't good enough. Maybe I want a polynomial or something. We'll talk more about that another time. But for now, know how to add in the Tool-Pak, know how to get the p-value, know that it should be small. And that's all I'm really. So I asked that in lab 3. In the crickets and the sand flea, they're both just plots, and then I ask you for the p-value. So that's what you'll need to do there. Let me, and then these instructions. So today, if you're starting today's lab, it's about some weather statistics. I wrote these like, I don't know, a year and a half ago. It was August or September, so I was grabbing July 2020 data, but you can grab more recent data. And I use Weather Underground. It gives you a nice, so it's Wonderground Philadelphia will, and you don't have to use Philadelphia. If you want to use wherever you're from, that's fine. But here is the here's the data. This is like today, the weather for today. I want some history. Now it so happens I want a monthly history. And it so happens that we're at the end of a month. But if you do this tomorrow or the next day, there won't be much data because it will be into February. So you can change the month. So you can go back. If you do it later and it's February, you can go back to January. I'm going to keep it as January. And I'm just going to hit view. I don't know if I did that before. But so I'm in the history. I'm in monthly. I want sort of a full month or close to a full month. So don't give me 2 days of February. And then down here's what I want, this big table of data. And just copy it and open up Excel and paste it. Give me a new oh, there's a new Excel. And paste it all in. And then I ask you to do some line charts and then later some statistics. So that's usually pretty straightforward. And then there's some ifs. I'll let you ask me about ifs. I'm begging for you to ask me questions. So if you struggle with the ifs, ask me questions. I will tell you about the statistics. It is an easy way, especially on the first test, for me to like throw points at you, because there's average and median and standard deviation and first quartile and third quartile and all sorts of, all sorts of measures, statistical measures. They're all relatively easy to get in Excel. Just know the formula. You don't have to even memorize it. You just know I'm going to ask statistics, and you write down on a card, here are all the formulas I need to know. So statistics is, statistics are a pain for you to calculate by yourself. I'm supposed to tell you how to do them on a computer because that's much easier. And it's an easy way, it's an easy question for you to answer, an easy question for me to throw points at you. So pay attention to that lab, make sure you understand it, and don't lose the easy points. Any questions while I'm still recording? No. Okay.